and we are back with another episode of Bring the Heat. I'm your host, Steve. I am doing the show solo tonight, but don't mind that. We are going to have a fantastic episode. You might notice that my background is a little different. Don't worry, it's a dark void, but trust me, it's not a bad spot to do a podcast. But here we go. We're going to cover the Sixers collapse. Unfortunately, they did lose in the playoffs, and I am going to briefly cover the Phillies, which to this point has given me such a headache that I've had to take a step back. So I'm getting back into it, and I'm still here. We're still here, right? So let's just jump right into it. We're going to start with the Sixers. Like I had mentioned, they were in the playoffs, and prior, I believe it was 2 or 3 episodes ago, and I had talked about, I had Kyle on, and we briefly talked about where we thought they were going to go and how far this team had for potential. And unfortunately, it was cut short. They did lose to the Hawks in the Eastern Conference semifinals in a in the seventh game, I should say. And this was bad because, I mean, they lost the first game of the series, which wasn't a big deal. But then you tied it up, and then they went up 2-1, and they didn't win a game since game three. So that was just the I think the microcosm of what happened. I mean, obviously they lost and that sucks, but it was the way they lost. I mean, Embiid was playing good, but there's nonsense. It's so much like extra stuff, and it just feels the Philadelphia sports curse. I mean, me and my friend we had talked about it once the Sixers got eliminated. That this feels like this is just a never-ending cycle of torment on Philadelphia sports fans, and this was just another example of it. Joel Embiid came to play. He had a minor tear in his meniscus, but he was still playing through it. So even with that, he was still putting up a solid postseason. But guys like Ben Simmons, Tobias Harris, they didn't step up. I think if you go through the numbers, at least through that last game or two, Seth Curry was right up there with Joel in terms of trying to carry the team. Like, I just, it's disappointing. And Ben Simmons right now is the biggest, I would say, like the target for the hate, and everybody's kind of moving off of Ben Simmons, his inability, or I don't know if it's inability, but there's no desire to shoot. Right, not enough field goals in the postseason, even though we see all these practice videos of him shooting and like he looks good and apparently he's getting better at it, but Coach Doc Rivers hadn't really held him to that standard, and Philadelphia fans and all the defenders of Ben Simmons definitely are just tired of it, and you can't blame them. I mean, he's supposed to be your star point guard. He's supposed to be one of the best players in the NBA. And yeah, he is talented, but your second star, especially for Joel, you need that second superstar. You need that second guy who can go get a basket. Ben Simmons, unless he's getting a clear lane to the rim to mostly dunk it, he's not even going to shoot it. How is your point guard not going to shoot? And oh, do you think maybe if he gets fouled, he should be able to make some free throws? Well, you'd be wrong. He can't make free throws either. So he can't shoot collectively. That is awful, especially in today's NBA. I mean, that might seem like an obvious statement, like, "Hey, your player should be able to shoot." And I understand certain people have their strengths and weaknesses. I'm not saying he's got to hit 45, 50% of his threes. I'm not, but like he has to make some free throws. Free throws are, I would say, minimum. I'll take, shooting 60-ish% from the field, but like free throws, they're called free for a reason. So that was a bit disappointing. The Sixers right now, so they are eliminated. The Hawks and the Bucks, I believe yesterday they played their game, or was it 2 days ago? Yeah, it might have been 2 days ago. But they're playing the Bucks right now, and right now Milwaukee's up 2-1, and so I've been watching this series, and because I really wanted to see what the Hawks were about, and quite frankly, they're not. The Hawks are not bad. I mean, I honestly did underestimate like people on that team. I didn't think John Collins or Kevin Herter were solid, but along with Trey Young, who is not shooting at a good clip. I mean, I'm not a big percentage guy. It doesn't matter per se. Like you have to shoot a certain percentage, but he does shoot a lot and he doesn't make a ton, but he's able to get baskets. He's able to go up there and actually, get his points. And I feel like sometimes that's all you need. You just need somebody who can get a basket, and it's infuriating, right? I mean, in this last game, Trae Young put up 35. He shot 52% from the field and 43% from the 3 pointer. So that's not a bad game, right? I mean, he's their point guard and he can shoot. They have a decent team. And then you look at Milwaukee, another team where I didn't know what their potential was, right? Because you got Giannis, who pretty much needs to go off every game. But then Chris Middleton stepped up last game. Chris Middleton put up 38, 11, and 7. Giannis put up 33 and 11. So that was a good game. They won 113 to 102. So that was the most recent game. So that was 2 days ago, I believe. And that's the thing. Giannis has the superstar, I should say, skill maybe, but he can get to the basket. He can shoot. He's not great free throws or 3 pointers, but can occasionally hit, especially free throws. He can make them, so he can get a basket and he can rebound, and like he is a very complete player. And I think, especially with this postseason, depending how far they can go, that would be huge. If it could, it'll probably end up being the Bucks and the Suns going into the finals. And I think if Giannis could win, that would really change most people's perspective on him, because everybody says he can't perform in the playoffs and he won't win anything in Milwaukee. But with the help of Chris Middleton and Drew Holiday, if somebody like Burke Lopez could step up, maybe they could make a run. Um, I think, but I'm pretty sure it will be Suns versus Bucks in the NBA Finals this year. But yeah, we will see. So that will be interesting. And so into segue of the second part of the show, I wanted to cover the Phillies. And my God, this team is just, it's quite hilarious. And I say that in the most painful way. They played last night, and I was briefly tuning in, and they were up at one point. I think it was 4-2 against the Reds, and that was going into the seventh inning. We lost 12-4. So between the seventh and eighth inning, they scored 10 runs. Jesus Christ, what the fuck happened? Well, in a nutshell, this Phillies bullpen, with the exception of Bailey Falter and maybe if you count like Spencer Howard, I mean, he started it, but he's not an official starter because no one knows what they're doing. But I think between those two, occasionally Alvarado, like those are really your only bullpen pieces. Brogdon can occasionally get you through an inning, but everybody else between Hector Neris, Sam Coonrod, Archie Bradley, Neftali Feliz, who just made his re-entry into the majors 4 years ago. That was when the last time he was on a mound. Joe Girardi said, "You're in a high leverage situation. You're only up by 2 runs." Neftali, come on. And the rest is history. I mean, he came in, he couldn't even finish the inning, 2/3 of an inning, give up 3 runs. And then Daniel De Los Santos is another guy where I just don't think he's good. It's a amount of talent or lack thereof this team has is actually like crazy. Daniel comes in, still can't finish an inning, gets 2/3 of an inning, 6 hits or 6 runs, I should say. 2 are earned, but it's both of those guys giving up home runs. And then Who do we need to get the last out? Nick Maton, the platoon infielder. That is pathetic. So this game puts the Phillies down at 36-40. They are currently in fourth place, only 3.5 ahead of Miami. And I'm actually going to the game this Thursday against Miami. I believe Eflin's pitching. And but to be honest, I'm so frustrated. I just think between Joe Girardi's mismanagement and overmanagement and the lack of talent that this team has, I'm just getting so just aggravated because we were supposed to have improved this bullpen from last year. I mean, yeah, we don't have Heath Hembree anymore, who plays for the Reds now and who actually pitched against us. And guess what? He did decent, and it's kind of ironic, but that's just how it is. It's like I can't explain how crazy it is, but like they need to make a serious change, and that's the thing. Right now, they are hovering in the middle of the league. I would say on the lower end, but they are like not competing for anything. There's nothing they can compete for. And in the off chance they win their division, any team in this division is just terrible. So in that regard, you just look at it and say, okay, this is bad. Are you going to be sellers at the deadline? Most people would probably think, nah, come on, you guys got Bryce, Nola, all this, JT, all these players. You think, okay, fine, they're good enough. And you know what? I would say on paper, yeah, I would agree. In the beginning of the season, I had them at 88 wins. 88 wins means they have to win 52 more games than they do right now. That will not happen. Trust me. If that happens, I'll go on record right now. If the Phillies finish with 88 wins, I will give everybody on my subscriber list $50. There's your reason to subscribe. That's a nice little plug. Anyhow, the Phillies are not a good team right now. And they haven't really been a good team all year. And one of the biggest problems is defense. Alec Bohm and Rhys Hoskins are crazy bad at the. I haven't seen so many errors from people in literally less than maybe like a 3.5 month span. And it's crazy. And with the loss yesterday, they blew the save, so that was 7 blown saves in 6 days. Yes, you heard that correctly. So it's awful. I think they have 21 blown saves this year, and the record is 25. I believe I read yesterday. That's insane. I don't understand. Like, why do I feel so angry and so like let down by this team? And it's not even July. It feels like this team has let down the city. I feel like this has just gone back to what I said earlier about the Sixers. It's just a Philadelphia sports thing. I don't understand it. I don't think anybody really gets it. But for whatever reason, we can't develop talent. People can't play at their potential, their prime, right? And it's frustrating. And in the Phillies case right now, like they need to go on a crazy, just an insane run, and just somehow, like I honestly don't know what they should do. I think next few weeks will kind of guide them towards a plan. But being a seller at the deadline is a true possibility right now, and it's crazy because they shouldn't be. They should be a good team. They should be a top 10 to 11 team in the league. On paper, they're good. What's the problem? Like I said, defense. I've never seen a team so bad defensively before. I never valued defense like I do this year. Bullpen is supposed to be improved. That's not true. They're not improved. Guys are still messing up. They're still blowing leads of 5, 6 runs. It's past the point of saying like we think we fixed the problem. Dave Dombrowski, who I thought did a decent job, kind of patching up the bullpen. I didn't honestly think they were going to be that bad. I thought we were in an okay spot, not great, but okay. But that wasn't the case. The problem and one of many is it goes back to Joe Girardi. His mismanagement of the bullpen, putting guys in certain situations that they shouldn't be in. Neftali Feliz should not be in a 2-run game. Let him pitch when you're up 6 or 7 runs. And you know what? At the end of the day, why the hell are you having a guy who hasn't pitched in the majors 4 years since 2017? Why are you having him pitch? I believe he's like 31 or 32 years old. He's not. He's not talented. He's not there. Because you know why? If he was, he would be on a team. Like I don't understand the Phillies right now, man. Like it's driving me insane. It's like the Sixers. It's like you were building all these years, and I've talked to my friends the last couple of weeks, and it's not an exact equivalence, but between Joel Embiid and Bryce Harper, right? They're the cornerstones of this city right now in terms of star power and what they represent for their teams. Both teams are letting down those star players tremendously. Okay? The Sixers should build a star to complement Joel Embiid. Ben Simmons isn't it. So I think Ben Simmons will probably be traded over the offseason. A lot of the trades people are tossing around is possibly Damian Lillard, the point guard from the Trailblazers. That would be good because he's a superstar. And in the NBA, you need at least 2 to 3 superstars. That's just what it takes to win a title nowadays. In the Phillies case, Bryce Harper is 29 years old, I believe, 29 or 30 years old. He maybe, and I stress maybe has 5 good years left. I understand he signed a 13-year deal in 2019, but let's just keep this real. Realistically, until he's 35, that's what Bryce Harper has. So you have 5 years, and again, that's max. That is like no injuries and him playing at full potential. This is bad. This is so bad because Bryce Harper and Joel, both their potential, they're just being wasted. Their careers are being wasted. They deserve the win. They deserve to have organization that respects them. I mean, the city loves these teams. Anybody from the surrounding area loves these teams. We care about these teams dramatically. Like we love these teams. And the players love the fans. But for some reason, that doesn't correlate to front offices being competent enough. And I think that is just ridiculous. I can't explain it. So realistically, I don't know what the next step is for the Phillies. It's gonna be this is gonna be such a rough year because like I can't tell you how many times I like turn on a game and by the third inning I'm just like don't care. Just I'm disgusted because it's laughable and it's not a few bad losses because I don't mind. You know, you can go through a rough stretch. They are a bad baseball team and they shouldn't have been. And the trade deadline is July 31st. You should start making trades now. You should have made trades 3 weeks ago. If we're being completely honest, they've been pretty awful all year. You could have done this in the beginning of June. But I'm telling you, is Bryce Harper on the trading block? I don't want him to be. But the Phillies need to strongly consider their plans. Like, can they compete in the next like 2 to 3 years? Because if the answer is no, and it looks like it's no, because this like baseball has got about 7 really, really good teams, and you're not beating any of them. You won't beat them in a 5-game series, 7-game series. It won't matter. You're not going to win. They are in a very, very tough spot, and I don't want to see Bryce go, but like I said, that might be the best plan for them. And I know the fans are gonna hate it, and I'm gonna hate it, but what else is there? Are you just gonna keep Bryce on the team and let his career go to waste? Because yeah, they'll put up good numbers, him and Joel in their respective sports, but it won't mean anything. They're not gonna win any titles. You need like the championships are there. Build the teams. That's all I'm saying. But that will wrap it up. This was an extremely short episode. I wanted to get something out there because I haven't posted in a few weeks and I just want to keep everybody updated. I let some sports news kind of unravel and just to give me some more content. But that'll do it. I appreciate everybody tuning in on this wonderful Tuesday night, June 29th. Not July yet, but it is the end of June right now. And yeah, so tune in, stay up to date on my YouTube channel at Bringing the Heat.